welcome back to my channel. My name is Marian Pilla and this is Weight Watchers Gourmet. Today we are making beef stroganoff. So let's go over the ingredients so we can get started. Over here I have 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, a cup of beef broth, 1/2 cup of low-fat sour cream, 1 pound of ground beef, 90% and 10% fat, 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil, 2 tablespoons of red wine, 1 box of Fiber Gourmet pasta, 1/2 onion diced, 1 garlic clove minced, and 1 leaf of parsley minced. Okay, so over here I have my water starting for the pasta with a little bit of salt in it. And I've had the 1 teaspoon of oil heating up in the pan, getting nice and hot to start cooking our ground beef in. So I'm just going to add our ground beef and start really, hear that sizzle? That's really what you want so that we know that the meat is getting brown. And it's not going to steam and it's going to actually get some color to it. Now, the reason I cook my beef first is the beef is to render out some fat. So it's going to make it so that when we cook the onions, we don't have to add any extra oil to the pan. So I'm going to finish cooking this until it turns a nice color brown, and then we'll come back and start the onions. Okay, once it gets around a pinkish color, I'm going to take a little bit of salt and a tad bit of pepper just to season it up. You always want to season every aspect of your dish because that really brings out all the flavors. Now that it's all brown, I'm going to empty this out with my slotted spoon, and like I said, you're going to leave any of the excess fat in the pan to cook the onions and garlic in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank up the heat just a little bit and let kind of some of the water evaporate in this, so we're just kind of left with the oils from the meat. My onions, and we're going to cook them until they're translucent. Now, if you don't like a lot of onion taste, you can leave this out. If you like a little bit of onion taste but not as strong, you want to use something of more of a white onion. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this. I'm going to let that cook, like I said, until it's translucent. I'm just going to turn that down, back down to 6. Add a little bit of pepper again. Not a lot. And we're just going to cook this until they turn translucent. Once they get translucent, we're going to add a little bit of garlic. Let that cook for a minute, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so once they get a little bit translucent, I'm going to take the garlic. I'm going to add that in with the onions. It's always good to have everything chopped and ready to go for dishes like this. It just makes it a little bit easier to have everything set. Now you're just going to cook this for about a minute because we don't want garlic to burn, because like I said in my last video, once it burns it turns into like a bitter taste. So once it smells really fragrant, it's pretty much ready to go. So now we're going to take a little bit of this red wine and we're going to deglaze the pan. Okay, so now we're going to pour in our beef broth now that we've kind of deglazed the pan. Always make sure that you scrape the bottom when you put the wine in. Make sure all the brown bits come up. That's where all your flavor is going to be. Now, we're going to crank our heat back up to high so that when this starts to like simmer a little bit, we're going to pour in our cream of mushroom soup. Stop. Okay, so now I'm going to just add my pasta into my boiling water, hopefully without making a mess. Always stir your pasta as soon as it comes in. It lets out a lot of the starch, which keeps your water from boiling over, and it keeps your pasta from sticking to each other. We're going to let that cook till al dente, so we're going to set the timer for 12 minutes. If you come over here, you can see that now my broth has kind of let out some of the water, and we're kind of left with a lot of flavor. It really is simmering now. So we're going to add in our cream of mushroom soup. Okay, so now we're going to just mix that all the way through. And then once that's fully incorporated with the beef broth, we're going to add in the sour cream. That's really going to make it nice and creamy. So just kind of switch to a whisk. This is just going to help break everything up really well. I still have my heat on somewhat high. And now I'm going to turn it down to about level 2. And that's just going to make sure that my sour cream gets incorporated without really kind of splitting or burning. So now we're going to add in our sour cream. You guys could see what this smells like, or smell what this smells like. You would be super impressed. So now we're just going to kind of mix that in. Once this is fully incorporated, we're going to add our beef back into it. Okay, so now we're going to add our beef back into it. Always make sure that you get all the juices. That's where all the flavor is. Don't worry if some of your beef is still a little bit pink. Beef can be. And this recipe is so great for freezing, for a quick meal. You can make, this makes 8 servings. So if you want to each have a serving that night, you and your boyfriend, or you and your husband, you and your kids, you can take the rest of it, put it in the freezer, pop it in the microwave, and you have a really easy meal the next day for work. So we're just going to let that simmer for a little bit till it stays warm. We're going to pop it. We're going to keep it on low while our pasta finishes boiling up, and then we'll put it all together. Okay, so now I did taste our sauce, and it does need a little bit of more salt and pepper, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit more. I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper. Okay. That around. And now you're just going to pour this over your pasta. Can't wait for you all to try this. And now you're just going to really mix it around. Make sure all the sauce is well incorporated. Okay, and now we're just going to top it off with a little bit of parsley. That's it. Okay, so let's go over our points values. So this pasta makes 8 servings, 1 cup per serving. The onions were 0 points. The garlic was 0 points. Parsley, 0 points. Beef broth, 0 points. 1 8-ounce can of cream of mushroom soup is 6 points. 90% lean ground beef, 16 ounces, is 24 points. 2 tablespoons of red wine is 1 point. 1 teaspoon of olive oil is 1 point. 1 box of low-carb Fiber Gourmet pasta is 24 points, and a half a cup of low-fat sour cream is 7 points, making this entire meal 8 points total. I've paired it with some grapes, which are also 0 points, and I hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned for more recipes.